Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna do um the answers for the English language paper tested in 2020 for G.C.E ordinary level examination in Sri Lanka. Let's start with the paper number 1 followed by the paper number 2. So let's make a move. I'm gonna change the screen by taking you to the original examination paper where we can check what sort of questions being tested, right? Okay, so now you can see the very first question as per the question appearing on your desktop. Test 1, match the following instructions, right? What they want is to do instructions to be matched with the pictures given. So some sort of instructions have been given below these pictures, and we need to find what is what, right? Which is which. And that's how we answer this question. So pretty simple one, straightforward one. But having said that, we can't ignore these things, knowing that every mark matters. So let's move on. Be very careful. Now if we have a look at this, wear a face mask, and here is also a person wearing a face mask under C, and here is also two persons are wearing face masks. So you need to be very careful with these things. You don't know like when you're going to make the mistake. So don't be stupid. Just read the question and try and answer in the best possible way. Okay, now let's read this. Now what they have done is write the letter of the most suitable picture in the box given against each instruction. What they have done is the first one is done for you. Now before moving to this question, now this is a passive voice sentence. This one, rather the first one is done for you, right? By subject, by the examiner is missing in action. So take this as a learning curve. Doesn't matter if you are writing an exam paper, just check and identify your tense patterns. That will be much more important. All right. Okay, so the avoid fast food is the first one, and they have marked it as A. And of course you can see a chicken sort of a leg and some sort of fast food. There's a chicken burger or something like that, and they have crossed out the picture saying that don't eat fast food. So avoid from fast food. Avoid fast food, right? Avoid means you keep away from something. Okay, you keep away from something. So learn that word as well. Okay, so you may say you can use a different road today or different route to get to work to avoid the traffic in the morning. Avoid means you skip that, you bypass that. Okay, so just learn that word, right? Okay, now the second one is get your temperature checked. I like this. There's a lesson in my YouTube channel, get something done, and this is what the tense pattern is, the sentence pattern is. So of course you need to learn that. If you learn that, then only you can understand what is being said by this sentence, right? If you don't understand, then you can't answer. So that's why I have given all the lessons in advance. So get something done, get temperature checked, right? That means you're not the one who is doing that. You get somebody to do that. You ask somebody to do that because somebody else is doing the job, right? What's that? Get your temperature checked means you go to someone and then ask them to check your temperature. It seems like C. Now let's wait and see. Read the others as well. Third one, wear a face mask. Well. I'm not quite sure yet. Let's see. Let's check the fourth one. Use a hand sanitizer, and it looks like this, right? And the fifth one is wash your hands, and this is for sure the wash your hands. So the answer should be B. Okay. And then the sixth one, maintain 2 meter distance, and very clearly, and it should be E, because you can see the 2 meter mark here, and asking general public to maintain the 2 meter distance, right? Right, to stop the spread of this viral flu. Okay, right. Now E is done, and B is done as well, and A is already done for us. And I think this is the bottle of sanitizer, and this has to be use a hand sanitizer. So it has to be F, right? So let's mark that, and this is ticked as well. Now the battle is between these two, and this is a thermometer, right? Modern thermometer, and of course this has to be the temperature check thing. So it has to be the answer. So it has to be C, right? And then what is left with this, and you can see two persons are wearing face masks, and it has to be D. So if you read the question very carefully and then try and identify what's given here, and it's an easy question where you can get 5 marks out of 5. So there is no room for any error, for any other mistakes, because if we lose 1 mark, that will matter at the end of the day, right? So whatever the easy questions being tested will have to be scored in full, right? Because there may be questions in the latter part of this paper where you will lose marks, right? It can happen. So let's be careful with these things. These are easy marks, so you can earn marks, right? So that's basically, that's the first question done for you. Now let's move on to the second one. Right, now we have done the first question. Now let's move on to the second one. So I'm going to change the screen again. Right, let's take a look at the second one. Right, now this is the second question. Fill in the blanks in the following dialogue. Now there's a dialogue given below where there are blanks need to be filled, right? Use the words given in the box. Write the letter of the correct word in the space given. The first one is done for you. Thank you very much. And the first one is done for you, and that's why they have crossed out this watch in the sense the verb and the character of C. Okay, so we need to identify what the other answers are for the blanks. Okay, now let's read this dialogue in full. Okay, there should be how many? Siobhan, Naduni, and there are two individuals who are discussing about something. Let's go and see what they're talking about. Hello, is that Naduni? Siobhan here. Oh, right, someone is trying to talk to a person called Naduni, and the person who is talking to him or her, of course Naduni is a female, and Siobhan is the person who is asking for Naduni. Okay, now Naduni answers, hello Siobhan, how are you doing? right? So that's a typical sort of a conversation, a dialogue, I would rather call it. Okay, then Shevon says, not bad. Did you space the science lesson this morning? Right. What they have suggested as the answer was watch, right? Did you, as you know, if you have did, we should have a verb in the present form in the sense stem of a verb. As you know, if you can remember my lessons, now if you say go, it becomes went when it's in the past form, right? So we write go as do go, right? As a second version, went becomes did go. So when you create the question form, right, of a sentence, the did comes first. The did jumps over the subject and sits at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, so that's what has happened. Did you, and then it has to be a verb. Okay, share is not a verb. Interesting, no, it's not. Late, thought is not a stem of a verb. Thought is a past or past participle of speech, as you know. So, well, the question is anyways done for you, the very first one. You don't have to worry about that, but just in case, if you're asked to do something like that, that's how you tackle the question. Okay, so the next one, Naduni says, no, I couldn't. That means she has not watched the science lesson, right? I woke up a little, right? Okay, the reason why she has been unable to read or watch the lesson rather is because she woke up late, little late, right? Late in the sense she got up late. That's why she missed the lesson. That's the basic meaning. Okay, so it has to be late, and then I'm gonna mark this as D, and I'll cross this late part out so that we can guess the other answers easily. Okay, and then yeah, it was an. So now you know it's an. An means not a, and means it has to be followed by a vowel, right? So now that's what you have to understand. Not this one, not this one, of course not this one, because this is a past participle form of a verb, right? So I'm gonna go a little bit down and see, right? It has to be interesting lesson on pollution. Interesting means it's something that you feel like watching, right? So it has to be then B. And because look, one is this, right? It starts with a vowel E. Interesting. It was an interesting lesson is a noun, and of course it has to be an adjective. Interesting is an adjective, so it has to be B, right? Then Nandini says who, the lesson, right? Okay, now you know when you constructed question forms, when we did past tense, I went to school, right? Then we don't know who went to school, then you ask the question, who went to school? So who should be followed by a past form of a verb which is taught, right? It has to be who taught the lesson, right? So that's how we answer. That's how we answer, right? I understand the fact that most of these questions are relatively easy, but you might get questions in the future where you can't answer the way you do these things sometimes. That's why I have been teaching you the grammatical approach, the correct approach to be made in order to get the correct answer, right? Okay, let's go to the sheet, and the question 2 is done. I think we have left one, have we? Let's see. Yes, we have left one. Yeah, let's try and answer that now, right? Right, who taught the lesson, right? That's done and dusted. Right, okay. Mr. Let me rub this off because I can't read the rest otherwise. Right, who taught the lesson? Now we have taken late, taught, interesting, and we are left with another couple of options that need to be filled with. Okay, right, who taught the lesson? That's done. Mr. Sivagurunathan, he explained it with many examples, right? He explained it. Now there's another video in my YouTube channel. There's something called adverbs. Adverb is a word that explains you how the verb is done, right? How the doer is doing the verb. So what he has done here is he explained it, and it has to be an adverb somewhere here. Okay, this should be filled with an adverb. I have given you some tips to identify adverbs. I told you the adverbs normally are suffixed with ly, li. Look at me. Beautiful, it becomes beautifully, right? Interesting, so this is an adjective. Interesting, it becomes interestingly. So that's how we form it. So there are any other forms of adverbs where you can't construct with li, something like, you know, if you say good, that's the adjective, and it becomes well. So this is an adverb, and at this point you wouldn't be able to guess. So this has to be learned. Okay, so in this case they have done a little favor for you as a candidate by giving something regular. Okay, so this has to be something with li, clearly. Okay, he explained it clearly. Now this is the answer. So whatever coming next, right, should be filled with share, because we are pretty sure that we have done everything correctly. Okay, now let's read that out and see. right? Don't worry, right? Don't worry, I took down some notes. I will. All right, okay. Now the second sentence is a simple future tense sentence, okay? So which will be this way: subject will followed by stem of the verb, right? There are no s sounds, right? No s sounds, okay? And there are no ing forms, no ing forms, no past tense, no past participles, because will, right, after will there should be a stem of a verb, okay? So quite correctly, share means kind of let me explain you that, okay? Share, let's go to our sheet and see how we can learn that word share, right? This word can either be a verb or a noun. Share means, let's say, now we have a cake here, okay? Now this is a cake, likewise, okay? Now this is a candle, something like that, happy birthday or something, right? Now if you cut this cake into little pieces, and this can also be a share, right? That's a noun. So as a verb, if you use share, right, you give it to someone, you give someone, right, something, you're giving something to somebody, okay? Which means let's say I have some storybooks with me and I need to share them with you in a share, right? So when you say share, which means you give it to someone, right? Someone is going to borrow that from you, which is called lend in this case. Lend means you give something to somebody for temporary usage, okay? For temporary use rather, okay? So this has to be quite correctly share. I will share them with you. So it has to be a, okay? See, another 5 marks, done, easy. If you follow the basic rules, and even if you use my YouTube channel, right, watch all the videos and do all the homework I have prescribed, you have earned already 10 marks, right? Now I'm going back, okay? Now let's see, now we have done the question 2. 2 is done. Now let's take a look at the question number 3. Here is the question number 3. It's a bit unclear. Unfortunately, the paper has been scanned and uploaded to the website in a wrong way, a bit of careless, I would say. Let's take a look at this. The question says, study the picture and fill in the blanks using the words given in the box, right? Now we need to take a look at this picture given on your exam paper and, you know, fill in the blanks using the words given. Now, there are a few words being given on the right hand side of the paper, and they are marked with, you know, letters, and then you need to fill these blanks with the letters, right? So that's the exercise that they have asked you to complete. Now let's see now. Write the letter of the correct word in the blank. The first one is done for you. As usual, they have done the first one. Now let's read the question first and then come back to the picture, right? That's how you have to do. You need to read the question first and then you know what's been tested. Okay, so this picture shows a library. Now you know it's a library, right? We can see that there are a lot of bookshelves and people are reading, you know. This should be the librarian, I believe. Yeah, so likewise we know what's happening now. Okay, there are some students and be teacher. Okay, well, yes, the librarian means the teacher. Teacher is the one who looks after the library, so it has to be B then, right? They have done that for us. Sitting at the right, the teacher is sitting somewhere, we don't know yet. Let's see. Okay, space in the middle. One student is taking down some, let's check that, while the others are reading, and then blank and full stop. The books on the, we don't know what that is, are arranged, looks like a passive voice sentence, space, and the assistant librarian is, right, space on a small, we don't know what it is. Let's see. Selecting some books, the librarian at the space table, space some library cards. There is on her table, right? Okay, now you don't need to do right from the beginning. What we can do here is now, as we know what is happening here now, if you identify one answer for sure, you may start with that. Okay, you don't have to fill right from the beginning. That's not the way how you deal with these types of questions. Okay, now let's see now what's being tested here is, now when you're constructing a sentence, yeah, it has to be a complete one. You know, you can't just say, you know, I am sitting chair. You have to say I'm sitting on a chair, right? Likewise, right? Let's see. Now I think the last one is a pretty easy one. I think this is the teacher, right? So what it says is there, or okay, the librarian at the space is space some library cards. There is a, or there is something on her table. What's that? Right? Let's check that. What's that? Books? No, it can't be books, because if it's books, this has to be are. There are. So it shouldn't be books, right? Standing, door, front, ladder, table, neatly, notes, checking, racks. And I think they're talking about this globe, right? That is what is on her table. So let's start with that. The first one is, you're gonna fill these blanks with, there is a globe on her table. So it has to be globe. So the globe is given under right. Let's do it here, right? Question number 3. Now we have A, books, right? B is done, teachers, or rather teacher, right? C is standing, right? D is globe. E, front. F is ladder. G is table. H, neatly. I is notes. J, checking. And K, racks. So that these are the answers given. Okay. Now we know for a fact that this is already dealt with. This has already been dealt with. Now we know globe is done as well. Look at this, because the globe came here. The globe comes under 11, right? So let's write, this is 11. So there's a blank under 11. So it has to be filled with D. That's what I mean here, okay? Right, now it's gone. Now let's go back to the original question and then read what it says, okay? The picture shows a library. There are some students and a teacher sitting at the, okay, we're not quite sure. In the middle, one student is taking down some, I think it has to be notes, right? Notes. Someone is taking down some notes, okay? So let's fill that with notes, notes, right? This is what it is. Now, this has to be 3. 3 means for the blank at number 3, the answer should be I, right? Okay. Down some notes while the others are reading books. Yes, there are books. Yes, there is a word as books. So we can say now this one, reading books, this has to be 4. So the answer for number 4 is A. That's what it means, right? Right. There are books on the right. 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 Okay. Let's skip that. We're not quite sure yet. Arrange the space, and the assistant librarian is on a small, right, is standing. Now this is a present continuous tense. Now we know that the teacher is sitting on the table, I mean on the chair next to the table, and the assistant librarian is, now you can see, sitting on a, or standing on a ladder right at the far end. So it has to be assistant librarian is standing on. So it has to be C, filled with C, which means number 7. 7 should be filled with C, character C, on a small ladder. The ladder is C under F. So 8 should be character F then, right? Done. Standing on a small ladder, selecting some books, right? Whatever, okay? The librarian at the front table. And of course, there are 2 librarians. One is the assistant and the other one is, how do we call the teacher, as you say, yeah? Oh, no. There is a teacher sitting, I think, in a sari next to the students. I think, as we have correctly mentioned, yeah. That's right. So I got that wrong. Sorry. Now the teacher is this one. This one. So I didn't notice that. Sorry about that. And this is the librarian. This is the assistant librarian. And this is the teacher and the students who are reading the books. Now we understand where we have made a mistake. Now we haven't made any mistakes as yet, but let's see. Now let's read that on a right, okay? The assistant librarian is standing on a small ladder, selecting some books. The librarian at the front table. She is, look at the librarian. She is doing some work, right? Sitting on a chair next to the table, the globe on it. And that's the librarian, and she is sitting at the front. Now it has to be front, and number 9 should be character E then, okay? So that's how you select that. Next up, table is some library cards, right? That's another, how do we call, present continuous sentence. Now the librarian sitting at the front table, what she's doing is she's doing some work. Now table is some library cards. She's dealing with some library cards, and there should be a verb with ing in it. Table, racks, neatly. That's right, checking. It has to be checking, okay? So number 10 should be J. Okay, some library cards. There is a globe on a table, as we have correctly done that. Now we are left with another, how many? Table, racks, and neatly. Okay, now let's read it again. The picture shows a library. There are some students and a teacher sitting at the right table, right? As you can see at the far end, I'm going to take you back to the question. At the far end, there's a teacher with another 3 more students sitting next to a table. So that's what they are saying. So it has to be number 2 should be filled with G, right? In the middle, one student is taking down some notes while the others are reading books, right? That's been done. The books on the right, okay. The books on the, what are we left with? Racks, right, racks. The books should normally kept in racks. So this is This should be the answer. This is the answer, in fact. And the books on the racks are arranged. Look at this. This is a passive voice sentence. If you take a look at that, the books on the racks are arranged. Look at that, right? And then how the books are arranged is described by using a what? What is this? Li, adverb. So this verb should be followed by an adverb, right? That's grammar, right? So this answer should be then arranged neatly. Number 6 should be H, right? That's how you answer the question. So I understand that, you know, when you are taking the exam, you wouldn't be able to take this much time to evaluate the question, but you need to do it much quicker. So I'm doing this question with all the explanations possible. Hence, you wouldn't be able to consume that much time, and you will not consume that much time. So don't worry about that. Okay.